Unless you believe that there's going to be a dramatic deceleration in Moore's law, then the computer of 25 to 30 years from now is going to be dramatically and fundamentally different from the computer of today. And the speed, not only in the speed and quantity of calculation, but in the qualitative changes that this will produce. Stop and think about how IT has changed the world since 1975. Business, communications, homes, personal relationships, governing, everything that's happened to us over the last 30 years. The changes of the next 30 years, I believe, are going to be an order of magnitude greater than that. More than 10 times greater than the changes we've experienced over the last 30 years. Which is going to lead to a very different kind of world in some relatively obvious ways. For example, we are going to live in a seemingly alive but invisible world, surrounded by intelligence that watches us and watches over us, and the two are not always the same. So, just as one example, if it's 2030 and I'm walking down the street and I decide I need more cash, and every once in a while somebody will ask me, is there a future for cash? And I say, well, of course there is, otherwise we wouldn't be able to avoid paying the GST. There will always be a desire for cash for certain kinds of transactions. So if I decide I need some cash, or more particularly if my computer genie or computer butler says, you know, you're getting a little low on cash, it might be an idea to get a little more, and I concur, then my computer genie will say, okay, from where you are right now, because of course it will know by GPS, where you are right now, the closest cash point is 2 blocks up this way and half a block that way, and it'll direct me, go up here, here, now turn right here, here it is. Meanwhile, it will contact the bank's computer and say, we're going to this ATM at this location. Here is Richard's identifier so that you know who's coming, and you can check his accounts, and we're going to want this much cash. And as I walk up to the ATM, the camera on the ATM will look at me and compare my physiognomy, the shape of my face, the way I walk, the slant of my eyes, the height of my ears, and say, yes, that's Richard Worzel. It matches the information in our files. And I'll walk up to the ATM, it will spit out the money, let's say $500. It'll spit out the money, I'll pick it out of the machine, put it in my wallet, and walk away. To somebody from the outside, it will look like I just walked up to the ATM, it spit out money, and I walked away. Total transaction time about 2 seconds. But there's an awful lot of processing that goes on behind that. And not only that, but the bank's cameras will evaluate the area around to make sure that nobody's waiting to mug me. And it may even use satellite imaging of the area immediately around the ATM to do that. So we will be surrounded by computers and networks that watch us and watch over us. And that also leads to the question of privacy, because privacy is going to disappear. As computing becomes more ubiquitous, as communications becomes more ubiquitous, as computers become smaller, the areas that are private in our lives are going to be whittled down more and more.